Welcome back. Welcome back, folks. We are here off a hiatus. Had a nice little bye week. Everything's good. Not too worried, even though we are coming off of a loss. I'm still all right.
It was a thrilling loss.
Thrilling loss. So today, after our midterm, we're gonna kind of talk about a mid-season rundown, where we think they are, where we think the Trojans are, where they can improve, and we'll look at Arizona a little bit. I want to say this because we haven't talked since Utah.
Right.
Caleb Williams proved that he's a Superman. I'm gonna start off with this. You win that Utah game, he put the team on his back and he performed. He did the best he was able to do, and Depp caught the Trojans. We know they're not deep, but in reality, like, he put that team on his back, and what he did, like, Lee Corso said it, I think, like a couple weeks ago. Caleb Williams is the only Heisman candidate west of the Mississippi. You know what I mean? So everybody's fighting east of the Mississippi, which might have him win the Heisman. But what he did in that Utah game, hands down, is what a leader is what a championship quarterback is. Injuries, I think injuries got the best of him, and bad officiating and bad defensive play, but that's neither here nor there. Not bad defensive play, bad defensive scheme. Because those dudes at that Utah game, those dudes was playing on defense. They were hitting, those dudes were playing. So I would say more scheme than bad defensive play, I guess you would say. But neither here nor there. This is the Salute to Troy, LAFB Bet Online podcast. Phil's back. I'm back. We're off a hiatus. Bye week was good to me. I got to welcome another life into the world. I had a kid, just in case y'all missed us. How was your bye week, Phil? Did you get to enjoy? Did you have to go to dinner again?
Hijacked by the wife monster.
Yeah.
It definitely made my Saturday evening a lot more enjoyable. I didn't have to look over my shoulder or try to find a place with a TV so that I could act like I wasn't watching it.
Definitely.
But it was good. I wasn't broken up about the loss. It was tough. There were some circumstances, let's call them, but losing to Utah was probably the best team to lose to. Utah's got 2 losses already. If they had lost to USC, they'd have been out of it. And before the season started, everybody had picked the Pac-12 championship game to come between Utah and Oregon.
Yeah. So you don't forget. You can finish, but don't forget losing to Utah by 1 in the last minute and having to lead the whole game. So it's not like Utah just was the better team. I think Depp got him, like I said earlier. I think Depp showed his ugly head. Go ahead and finish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it definitely did. But and when you look at the standings, you've got Oregon, USC, UCLA. Then there was, I think it is Utah after UCLA. Then Washington, Oregon State, then Washington. Those are your top 6 teams. And Utah still plays Oregon. Washington and Oregon State play just about everybody. But the real challenge comes with the matchup again, the crosstown matchup. That's where the Pac-12 South is going to be won or lost this season.
Which is great for football. It's great for football. It's great for LA. It's great for the NLI. I will tell you that. Like, there's no, okay, maybe Oregon, but other than that, there's no team in the Pac-12 that can match USC's as far as NLI, that can match UCLA as far as NLI. You know what I mean? So, like, even with other teams, it's like, if I'm 18, why would I go to Tuscaloosa and I could stay in LA? I could be a celebrity at 18 in LA. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny that you make that statement because there was somebody else that felt that very same way. It was a little higher up. like the head coach for Alabama, who decided he was stepping away at the end of this year because he can no longer compete without a recruiting advantage.
Hey, and I said this early when it came out, and this ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right?
Hey.
Everybody could play your game now, and now you're ready to leave. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? But
Go home.
like, so like that's great. I hope. All right, so talking about the Trojans, so we got games that's coming up that are great for us as far as schedule wise and putting us in a position to play UCLA to go to Vegas, right? So we still have Cal, we still have Arizona, we still have Colorado, which is great. We got Colorado at home, so we don't have to worry about elevation. We play Arizona this weekend in Tucson, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And we have Cal. Cal's going to play above their head because it is a rivalry. It's not as big as UCLA, but there is still some rivalry aspects to it. And, I mean, without SC, Cal would not have any consideration for the Big Ten, which they are trying to consider them. And they're working a backdoor deal to try to get Cal and Stanford into the Big Ten. So there's a little, big brother, little brother thing going on there. But at the end of the day, they are set up to play to go to the Pac-12 championship, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, so like we might as well just swing into it now. Where we are right now, if I was to give a grade for USC right now, this very moment, I will give them. Oh man, it's so hard. B minus, C plus. And I'll tell you why. Now, everybody, okay, I understand. Caleb Williams, Mario, Jordan, Travis Dye, the offensive line is better than expected. They're scoring a lot of points. That is fine. That's perfect. But that's only 50% of the game, right? Anytime you give 200 yards to a tight end and you legit give them a void space, they just attack it and just take advantage of it. That's just how things. So they're not a complete team. I have not seen a complete game out of them yet, and I don't think the defense is good enough. Like everybody's like CFP. This is me showing tough love and being a generous fan and an alumni. You do not want to go to the CFP this year because you are not ready. It is a very bad idea to go to CFP. You want to go to a New Year's Six or 31 bowl, any type of those bowls. You go to CFP, they're going to get boat raced. They're just not deep enough, and you saw that in Utah, right? They're not deep enough. Schematically on defense, they're not good enough. They're just not ready. Now, are they getting ready? Yeah, I'm not saying that the product that they're putting on the field is great, and they've already won 2 more games than they won last year. They are bowl eligible. They're the number 10 team in the nation. They have a shot. But to say they want to go play Georgia will run them off the field. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So if Georgia is the milestone, right? If Georgia is the standard, that's what I meant to say. Georgia's the standard.
I'm not sure they beat Tennessee.
Well, we'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Next week,
right? But if Georgia's the standard, as of right now, if Georgia's the standard, where's SC compared to that standard? You know what I mean? Right. Where do you put them to that standard? So that's why you give the grade they're like B minus high C plus. Like they're a good football. They're above average football team. Right. They're not great. They're not excellent, but they're above average football team, which is great improvement. Last year they were sorry. They were a below average, awful football team. So like, yeah, they made leaps and bounds, but where they are right now, they're not where people think they really are. I guess that's the best way to put it.
That's a great way to look at it. You said a B minus C plus. That's a little harsher than what I would have given them. I would have given them a solid B because the offense is so much better than the defense. But having watched these guys, the players have grown on me, and I don't think so much as the fact that they don't have a bad defense. I think their defensive scheme is just not one that I'm fond of, and that's about as nicely as I could put it.
I got you. Before we get going, I forgot to do this, but here we go. Basketball is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline, and your continued source for all sports wagering information. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite events, whether it's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, or even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline when the game starts. They got rid of that 100%. They didn't put no cap on it. They got rid of that 100%. All right, so back.
Nope, man, we're going to have to stop that.
Hey, I will say this, especially watching the Utah game. SC secondary is not that bad.
No, they're not. They've grown a lot, but it goes back to iron sharpening iron. Their receivers can't be that good, and that secondary stay that bad. It's not possible.
No, 100%. So, and that might be a good point. Maybe the receivers and being in camp, torching them all, you know. And when Mario was there in the spring, and we saw the spring game, and Mario Williams was just having a field day, and we're like, oh, it's going to be bad. But there are some transfers out there, right? But I will say this: the corners are okay, but those two safeties are dudes.
Yeah.
Right. And those two safeties, and Seven will hit you.
Mm-hmm.
He will hit you, and he does no shame in trying to come up and hit you, and he will put some lumber on you. Like, those safeties are dudes. They're put in bad situations, and I don't think that's fair to them. No. I think if they're in a sound scheme, they will be talked about a lot more.
If they would just run a basic 4-3, just a basic 4-3, the whole thing would look so much better.
100%. It's just so weird. Now, I will say this, like, as we work down, I don't think the linebackers are that great. And that kind of shows in their run defense. I was high on Shane Lee, probably because he's coming from Alabama. But, I mean, he's average at best. And Gentry's just a big body. They're okay. Goforth, I do like Goforth, but I think they're playing Goforth wrong. And he's sharing time with the linebackers, but I think Goforth is like a true will backer. If you found a legit Mike and you had Goforth at will, and you just put Gentry and start rushing him off the edge, you might have something there. But Goforth is better than Shane Lee, but they're trying to give Shane Lee reps, and I don't like it. But I'm not the coach. What do I know? But, man, it's like they could be so much better with Gentry and Goforth. I think with Gentry and Goforth, when they were playing together, that's when we started to turn the defense. It was like, oh, maybe they aren't that bad. But Shane Lee comes back, plays in Utah. He's getting ran by running backs and stuff like that. It's like, I'm not sold on him. I prefer Goforth over Shane Lee. I think Gentry isn't bad, but he's better with Goforth. Goforth makes Gentry better. Shane Lee makes Gentry worse, if that makes sense.
That does. Some people play better, some people don't. Some people complement each other. It's really more what it does. And I don't. It's hard for me to judge players, especially in this scheme. But yeah, they could be coached better.
Okay, so now we're moving down one more. I will say this. If I was to rank the defense by level, I would say the best position. If I was to do 1, 2, 3, right? Secondary, linebackers, D-line. I'll say the secondary is first, and I'll say the D-line is second, and it's close. Yeah. It's close 1, 2, and then the linebackers are last. But, I mean, they're probably the worst position, but it's close 1, 2. The D-line, and I will eat crow. I didn't think the D-line was going to be as good as they were this year, and the D-line is playing very well, and they're playing very deep, and they are producing a whole bunch of sacks. Mm-hmm. Like, they're doing very, very well. and Tupou is playing lights out football. I mean, there was a game where he had 3 sacks in the first half against Wazoo, and so he's playing solid football. They have up and coming youngsters making sacks. I mean, the future is bright. In fact, there's the linebacker 44. I don't remember his name. The young kid who smacked the dude on the goal line. Shit, he needs to start playing more. That dude, yeah. So I mean, but I think the D line is way better than we expected them to be.
Hungry? Grab a Snickers.
Halloween time. Happy Halloween.
There you go. That's the one benefit to having 4 kids. Absolutely. Toughness. That's what he brings. And all right, there we go.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all good. I'm over here being a professional and just getting hit in the chest with nice Snickers. Yeah, he's made an impact in the run game. It's again, I really feel like they could do a lot better in a different defensive scheme. What you saw, what you've started to see, what we've seen bits and pieces of all season long. It's a 50-50 thing. I can say that with the pieces that he had, Alex Grinch has led the nation in interceptions. He's led the nation in sacks. The shortcoming, I guess, was the run game and covering a tight end. That's where the scheme comes in. If you're getting gashed in the running game and continuing to get gashed in the running game, it's because you're allowing it to happen. If your tight ends are running up the seams and hitting out routes and suddenly they're by themselves and getting 215 yards in a game, a guy who's caught maybe 5 passes in his life.
The second team tight end. He was the second team tight end because their starter tore his ACL. Yeah. They got that dude drafted.
Yeah, they did.
I wouldn't say the players. At this point, for me, it's no longer the players because I saw those players play like they had the fire. Like the cultures changed. That was scheme. And they didn't make any adjustments, and they just let that tight end sit in that zone wide ass open. Don't put that on that players. That's 100% coaching. And there's an old saying, like when I coached it, one of the head coaches I used to coach for, he said, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. Right? At what point, like, you're coaching it and you're allowing it to happen? Like, dude, that's no longer on the players, that's on you. Like, because these dudes want to win this game. These dudes want to prove that they're a top team in the nation, which that's fine, but you're no longer helping them.
Failed them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if we go ahead, let's flip over to the other side of the ball. You want to just start with the O-line, and then we'll get to all the good parts after that?
O-line. O-line has been I can't knock them. I can't knock them. There are games that I've wished they were better, especially in holding up against the edges, blitzing coming from the edges, defensive ends crashing. There are some times where they could have been better. But as a whole, you look at the run game, you look at the amount of time Caleb Williams has had to throw the ball. He can't be a Heisman candidate if they're not doing their job up front. And they're a solid unit for what they're asked to do. In theory, I do mine a little differently, but for what they're asked to do and the system that they're in, they're doing very well.
I will say this. What I expected them to be and what they have shown is better than what I expected. I thought they were going to be completely bad, and they are way better than what I expected them to be. Like you said, like in order for Caleb Williams to be a candidate, he needs protection, right? And like he has that protection. He has all these yards. He's one of the leaders for a reason because he has time, right? And then like the next position we're going to talk about, his player wouldn't be able to get it without the offensive line. The offensive line is going to get better with time and with recruiting. So like them being average, slightly above average this year, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like and like a lot of people we have to understand that this is a rebuild, and we're getting a little spoiled for a rebuild, losing only one game. You know what I mean? Like, this is a rebuild season. So, like, just the fact that, you know, they're doing what they're asked to do, like you said, and they're doing it at their best, at the best they can, and I can accept that because the effort is there. You know what I mean? Like, we're not
absolutely, and then
like,
not only that, but the production is there as well. You can't argue with what they've done. You can't look at how Travis Dye is up at the top of leading rushers in Pac-12 and say it's not because of the O-line.
100%. Like, power became a key component of the offense, and we might as well go to Travis Dye. Travis Dye gets an A. He's everything I thought he was going to be. He's a multi-purpose back. He's done everything I expect him to be up to this point. What is that?
But how much better would he look with a fullback in the I formation?
He probably will look a lot better. But they don't run I formation anymore, and we can't get that.
I do it just a wee bit different, but let me tell you, it has to do. I mean, if you're gonna run power, how you gonna run power without the I formation? I'm just saying, but that's
But I mean, believe it or not, Travis Dye only has 600 yards on the season.
I believe it.
Like, so, I mean, he's still on pace for 1,000 yards. He could get 400 easy. He has 6 games left, 5 games. He could get it. That's no big deal. But at the end of the day, like, Travis Dye stepped up. Now, I will tell you this, and we did a live after the Utah game. I did it with Jamal, and I was like, I hope he comes back for a 6th season because he gets the 6th season. Like, if we could get him back for one more, you know what I mean? Like, but he's been kind of long in the tooth in the college game, and if he goes and tries his hand at the pros, that'd be great. But what they're getting out of Travis Dye is everything I expected. He has performed to his abilities and more. He is like a super like he's in an offense where people didn't. I wouldn't. If you were in the Pac-12, you knew who he was. You know who he was. But like, you can't not talk about the USC offense without talking about Travis Dye.
No, you can't.
Right. So like, when you include Addison Williams, you also include Dye now. Right. Yeah. I will say this: Austin Jones at the beginning of the season, I was high on him. His production has fell way off. I don't know what it is. I'm not eternal. I'm not going to speculate. I hope it works out. I see he's been getting a little bit more carries. I will say this. I do think they're a little bit too high on Raleek, and I don't think he's ready yet.
No.
I don't think he's ready yet. And he's a great special teams guy. He had that big return against Utah, but I don't think he's ready yet to get the production that he's getting. He's getting a lot more carries, and those carries can go to Austin Jones, and you could get a lot better production, I guess you could say. But running back wise, I think running back is like A-, B+. Travis Dye, Austin Jones, like, hopefully Austin Jones starts getting more carries and things happen. Maybe they figured it out bye week, and we start getting that 1-2 punch again that we saw in the beginning of the season.
It's hard to take Travis Dye off the field when he's running like that. Now, I'm gonna own up to it and be honest. At the start of when we first started doing this at the spring game and watching the running backs, I was not very high on them at all. In fact, I was quite low on the running backs. But I have been pleasantly surprised through everything. I've seen flashes of Raleek Brown, but like you said, he's not quite there. I look at him and I worry about that size because he's in college now, so he's not going to get very much taller if he does at all.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Jones, like you said, that's a mystery. I'm not going to speculate because I have no knowledge of that whatsoever. But with the way that Travis Dye has been running, all I can say is that he's made a believer out of me. Do I want to see him for his 6th year? If he comes back, I'll be happy to see him. But I think that they could get better.
No doubt, they could get better. And there's plenty of running backs in SoCal right now that can make that choice and easily put on a cardinal and gold. And you know what I mean? Like, recruiting is easy now. Mm-hmm. It's easy to stay home now. Like, you won't get in trouble for being floor side at a Lakers game. You know what I mean? So that's an easy thing. I mean, so let's moving on. Let's talk about number 13.
Special guy.
Number 13 has officially sold me after the Utah game. And my biggest question, he checked all the boxes, checked all the boxes. The one box is, how will he be in a close game that matters, right? And he was in a close game against Oregon State. He was very composed, like, all right. What he did in that Utah game, that is what you do as a quarterback. That's what you do as a winner. He said, hey, y'all jump on my back. I know we're hurt. It doesn't matter. We're going to try to win this game. And he gave him every opportunity and tried the best to win that game. And he did not quit once. Like, that kid left it all on the field in Utah. And him gaining depth, that team gaining depth, that team getting better is a scary, scary thought for next year, because next year is his last year. So, yes. I mean, 13 is amazing. He's everything we thought he would be. I hope he gets invited to New York. But with 13 is the A. He gets the A in my book. He's the guy. He is a guy. He's a dude. He's amazing. I just hope he stays healthy and he continues to just keep pushing forward and try to at least get us to Vegas.
Absolutely. I really, really have been pleased with him. As a freshman, looking at him at Oklahoma, it was like, who's this guy that took Spencer Rattler's job? Like, oh no, this kid's pretty good. But moving across country, coming to the Pac-12, I could only speculate as to what I thought he would be. But he has pleasantly surprised me. He's continued to develop. I mean, we still got to remember, he's a young kid. He's still, 19, 20?
Yeah.
He's still a young kid, and his next year will be his third year, and he will most likely be gone because he will be a top 3 draft pick, top 5 draft pick. But I'm glad that he's on our team, and I'm glad that we get one more year with him, because what he can do next year is going to be scary.
What do you think about the comparison of Patrick Mahomes to him?
Different kind of player. He's better running than Patrick Mahomes is.
Yeah, he's sneaky fast. He runs away from you.
He's got more of a Josh Allen comparison to me.
Yeah, I do like the fact that he's just a playmaker, though.
Yeah.
All right, let's spread it out now. Let's talk about the guys on the edge. We got Addison, we got Williams, we got Brandon Rice. I'm gonna even include the big guys in there. We got the 2 tight ends who actually have like 7 touchdowns this year, who are freakishly athletic, who are also coming back next year. Like, it's just the foresight of this team is just amazing. Receiver play, how do you feel about it?
I wish that I could grade it on the curve, because they're going to end up being a B. And it's not because their top guys aren't A's. It's because I feel like we should be getting more from Brandon Rice. I feel like we could, like Mario Williams, Jordan Addison, A's. Don't get me wrong. They're good. They're good as it gets in college football. Brandon Rice has got the size. He's got the pedigree, but he's not catching passes in crucial situations, and he hadn't scored.
He doesn't have a touchdown?
No.
Wow. All right. I will say this. I'm still a firm believer that Brandon Rice is going to win us a game. That game is coming. I'm not giving up on that yet. We still got 5. And hopefully it's the game on the 18th. And we just celebrate it like crazy. I will say this. The receivers are a B because there's 2.5, because I think Brandon Rice does make catches at times and he makes plays that are needed at times. But you're right, he's not a game changer. I'm not going to game plan Brandon Rice, right? I will say this. The scary thing about Addison and Williams is they both make big plays at different times. And it's when you have 2 receivers like that, it's hard to cover both of them. And you're in a situation where you're like, all right, which one's going to make the play at this time? And you don't know until the ball's caught. It's either going to be number 4 or number 3. That's the scary thing about those 2 receivers. And we've seen it multiple times this season. We saw it multiple times in the Utah game. It's just crazy. Like the big post from Jordan Addison or the big streak from Mario Williams. Like, it's so So that's a scary thing. Like, you have to game plan to receivers. You can't double team two. It's impossible. You have to pick your poison. And those dudes are playing, like we said, they're playing up to par. I will say this, overall, offensively, I give them a B. Because there are – you give them an A?
I give them an A. Whose offense is better?
That's a good question. You're right.
When we spoke about Georgia playing USC and how they said the Georgia offense with running attack would dominate the USC defense, but that Georgia defense is not going to dominate the USC offense.
You don't think so up front?
No. This is not the same Georgia team.
Okay. You're right. I might be a little bit too straight. Maybe I was trying to make room for growth. I don't know. But you are right. They do have one of the best offenses in the nation. Like, you can't even argue that. And I wish somebody would come and argue. You could throw all your numbers out and this and that. Listen, they have less attempts because they score the ball fast. Yeah. Like, they make big plays. Let's look at big plays that they've made. Let's look at those yards. Pull those numbers up. SC has the ability to do that. The goal for SC was to put a better product on the field and a field that stands up. They have put in a way better product on the field, and they are filling the stands up. You can't be upset at what SC has put together overall. That's all I'm saying. This is Super Troy Podcast brought to you by Bet Online. I will say this. Overall, up to date, middle of the season, I'm impressed even with one loss. I'm impressed with the loss because the star player played like a star player. Those defensive guys played their asses off, and they showed that they wanted to win, and the culture there has turned. They lost in the last minute, and things happen, and you can't control everything, and that's fine, 100%.
No, without a doubt. And when we did our little season prediction, to me, I said that at worst this was a 3-loss team. At best they could go undefeated. Where I expected them to be was probably about 1 to 2 losses. Utah was the game that we had circled.
Yeah.
We had circled the game against Utah and figured that if it was going to be a game, it was going to be this one and potentially UCLA.
And it's panning out to be that 100%.
Exactly, and it's going to and that's what it's come down to. Utah, which UCLA beat, and they lost to Utah and UCLA. They have a chance to, if they beat UCLA, they have a chance to cement the South Division and take themselves to Vegas and for a shot at the Rose Bowl.
100%. And so, looking upon that, we're moving on. Bye week's over. We got the Wildcats. We have to go to Tucson. We don't have to worry about elevation, which apparently none of those players ever played in but Brandon Rice. And they realized, I will say this, before we move on, I'm going to be real quick with this. Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley being in the Pac-12 shows how hard it is to play on the road in Pac-12. Oregon State, Utah, Colorado, it shows how hard it is. And a lot of people, them being in primetime slots, shows how hard it really is. And it's a great thing, and I love every bit of it. Let's move on. Got to go to Tucson. Got to play in Arizona. Great weather. Got healthy. Had a week off. Had a chance to chill. You're coming off of a tough loss. What are you expecting to see? 7, I think they play at 7 this evening. 7, whatever time. They don't have a primetime game because it is Arizona. A very below-average team. They could play average. 3 wins on the season, I believe. What are you expecting to see out of the Trojans this weekend?
To blow the freaking doors off the Wildcats. If they don't beat the Wildcats by about 30, I will be surprised.
I will tell you this. It may not happen because I haven't looked, and I should look. But we don't know how healthy they are. We don't know how serious the injuries are. And depth is an issue. You know what I mean? So if injuries come into play, it may not be a 50-0 game. But I'm with you. Don't hold anything back. Put 70 up if you could put 70 up. If any game was a fucking statement game, this is the statement game. Jet Fish, I'm sorry. I know you've been in the game forever, blah, 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 this and that. we're going to beat the shit out of you. Sorry, we have to.
Stomping on your necks.
The next 3 teams are going to get get dog walk. Yep. And it is what it is because these are like you just came. If they would have won and coming off a bye and they beat Arizona 35-14, they beat Cal 40-27 or 17, they beat Colorado. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Yeah. But they just lost, and now you motherfuckers got to get kicked in the teeth. Blame Utah for what's about to happen to y'all. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. And that's what I expect to see. I honestly just want to see them get healthy. But I'm happy the schedule plays in their favor. They have enough time to work on their stuff to be ready for the 18th, which is a big game. Will be a big week for us. But we can't look there first. We got to take care of Tucson. We have to go there. We got to get our offense right. Hopefully everybody's healthy. We got to get right, make plays, score touchdowns. I'm just looking for a big win, make a statement, and just move on.
Again, you know, we're at a spot now where we're playing out the string. We're not going to get too high. We're not going to get caught in the trap of looking forward. Arizona doesn't have much to offer. So the remainder of the schedule doesn't. Cal doesn't have much to offer. So but you're looking at then you're looking at the big game, and then you're looking at Notre Dame. So we just need to take care of our business. Take it 1 week at a time, execute, pay attention to detail, and for the love of God, fix the defense.
I will say this, and I said it before. Mid-season, after the midterm, I think the Trojans overall, like I said, I give them a C+B. You give them an A, and I'm just telling you where the standard is, and it is what it is. There's room to grow for both of us, but overall, I think we're both happy with the product that the Trojans have put on the field this year. I think we're happy with what's going to happen in the future, and I think that we're happy of the growth that happened. If you want to play football, you want to play competitive football, you ain't got to leave the state anymore. Sit here and watch it happen, be a celebrity hill. You got anything else, Phil?
No. Look for my article. Said USC's path to Pasadena.
There we go.
Should be coming out pretty soon.
There we go. Good deal. Hey, it's always good. Don't forget, we'll have the film next week. We're back at it. We're off bye week. We just want to give you – we know y'all missed us, so we wanted to show our great faces to y'all, man. We love you guys. Keep supporting. Like always, this has been LAFB Salute to Troy podcast brought to you by Bet Online. You know how it goes. Live free. Fight on.